Hi guys, today I'm going to be talking about how I found out I was pregnant. This starts in August, maybe like the 11th or the 13th. Let's say like the 9th. I was working at a place where I was like lifting boxes and like standing on my feet for like 12 hours a day. It was a lot. And I previously like done work sort of like that, but not exactly that hard or that heavy of items or like anything like that. And my leg starts to like hurt, and it's not like a little bit of pain. Like I feel like it was like a nerve in my leg that was like being pinched, hurting. Like, oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with me? And so I'm the type of person, I'm pushed through pain, I'm pushed through it. I'm fine. And then I didn't have insurance at the time. So I'm really like, I'm fine. I'm not going to the doctors. Like, I don't want to get any and have to pay the hospital any money because my leg is fucked up. Like, no. So I go. So it gets to the point, I go to work. It is unbearable. It's to the point where like I'm on the ground, like massaging my leg, like, oh my god, I'm in so much pain. I end up leaving early. The day I left early, I went to the hospital. I'm in the emergency room, so they're taking forever. They took my vitals, and they're like, everything seems to be fine. They end up drawing my blood, and I go back there, and they wanted to do an x-ray on me. That's what it was. They finally like bring me into a room, decided they want to do an x-ray. To do an x-ray, they have to check, see if you're pregnant, because you can't be pregnant and get an x-ray done. So I'm like, okay, like I'm not pregnant. And it was like, you're pregnant. And I'm like, I immediately jumped to being like hysterical, like, ha ha ha, you're like, not even saying like you're crazy, but like, what? But another issue I was having was I was spotting. So what they decided was to send me home, and they would do some more blood work on me later on, like give it like a week or two. If I spot, I think they said if I spot for like more than 5 days, come back. So I ended up leaving, and I go to work the next day. I go to work, and as I'm like getting ready to punch in, like I had to go to work at like 4 in the morning. I really didn't want to go, but I'm like, I'm gonna go. Like, this news had just like hit me. I wasn't really like knowing what to do with it. And then I had to go to work, and I was like, I don't really like my job like that again. And I was like, my job like that. But I went in anyway. I get there, and my boss is like looking at me weird, and I'm like, what? He ended up pulling me to the side and was like, you're not supposed to be here. I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, they fired you. Like, you're supposed to be fired. Nobody told me I was supposed to be fired. Thinking back on it now, the day I left, somebody, like, immediately when I was saying like, oh, I'm finna leave, they was finna try to pull me aside. But I'm thinking like, it didn't really got nothing to do with nothing. Probably like I didn't fill out a paperwork right or something. So I'm like, it's whatever. I'm finna go though, so I can't do whatever you want me to do. Turns out they were trying to fire me. Point. And I was fired, and it just was like my leg. I was having issues with my leg, which didn't get solved at the hospital. which didn't get solved at the hospital. Then I was having issues with my leg, which didn't get solved. Like, I still was in pain for my leg. It just wasn't as bad a pain, but they didn't give me anything for it or anything like that. Then it was the whole pregnant situation, but I'm spotting. What does this mean? What does that mean? I just was like so confused on that. And then to be thrown with one more thing, you're fired. Like, now you don't have a job. It was like, what? Like, none of this makes sense. I'm confused. Like, what am I supposed to do? I literally I Ubered to work. Luckily, I wasn't Ubering far. It was like a $10 Uber, but like, I Ubered to work. You could have saved me $20 because I had to Uber there and then I had to Uber back. If you would have told me this while I was at home. So, as soon as I get outside, I'm calling the Uber as I'm walking out the door to like get another Uber, and I sit on the thing and I just bawl. Like, I'm bawling. I'm in tears. I'm like, oh, what is going on? I don't understand. What is happening to me? Like, why is this my life? I've never been fired before. Like, that was the only time I've ever been fired. Any of my other bosses loved me. Even the guy who was like firing me was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand why they're firing you. You're a great employee, da 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 da. And it was like too much at once. And I was like in tears. I get home to my fiance, and of course he like halfway asleep because I had just left. And for me to just now be coming back, he was a little confused. I just laid there crying. When I got home, I pulled it together while I was in Uber, of course, and then I got home and I just was crying some more and crying some more. Like, why is this happening to me? I don't understand. Da 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 da. And we both came to the conclusion that if the baby was okay, we would just get an abortion, because if I didn't miscarry, we would just get an abortion, because at this point he wasn't working as much as he would like to have been working. He was working 1 day a week, maybe that. He's working for a union, so he was getting a nice amount of money, but he wasn't working every day. He wasn't guaranteed work 5 days out the week, so that's what he wasn't satisfied in his work position. I didn't have a work position anymore, and we both just was this is too much. We just gonna have to get an abortion, because it's just not gonna work out. And of course that made me sad. It truly made me sad. I've never thought in my head I'm gonna just have to get an abortion. That's just how it's gonna have to go. Back in my head, I'm maybe if I get a job fast enough, maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that. And at this point, we was renting out a room from one of his friends, so we weren't even in our own place. It just a lot of it just wasn't the time. It just wasn't the time, and I felt so bad because it wasn't the time. I ended up going in for blood work again, and they were checking my HCG levels, and I didn't get the blood results back that day. I think I got them back maybe 2 to 3 days after that, to find out that I miscarried. And it was a shock. Of course, I was not relieved. From wanting an abortion, which I didn't even really want I didn't want an abortion. I felt like I was in a position that my only choice was an abortion. And then to hear that this life that I was debating on having or not was gone, and it wasn't my choice, and I didn't get to cope with that fact. It just was that's just what happened, and I had like no choice but to like deal with that. The fact that I had miscarried, it fucked me up. Like, I felt like my body had betrayed me in some way. That for like a really long time, for some weeks, and things started moving forward with something that he do in October. This was August. At this point, we were now in like September-ish. His birthday's in September. We celebrated his birthday. I like was finally getting my grips back together in September, and then late September, he moves into the Masonic Temple to do this production for a company. I think at this point we were in there a week, and like I still ain't had a period yet. That had thrown me off. Maybe even 2 weeks he was in there, and it just was like confusing. It was still October. It was early October, late September when I took this next test. I was like, I still ain't in my period. I should probably take a test. He was like, yeah, you should probably take a test.
It was positive, positive, positive.
I'm like, what? Like, what is happening? I think we both were just like emotionally exhausted. That, I mean, this wasn't the best thing for us to do. At this point, I was already taking prenatals from like my original pregnancy, from the first pregnancy. That I was like, I'm gonna just continue to take my prenatals, and we're gonna just ignore this until Theater Bazaar is over with. Theater Bazaar ends. Well, his whole job pretty much ended Halloween. So October 31st, it was all over with. It wasn't even, it was like 3 weeks at max that we needed to like not, we both needed to just like not discuss this and pretend like it just wasn't happening, to be honest. You know, of course, you made sure I took my prenatals. I didn't go to any doctor's appointments until like after this point. I just couldn't. I think I was so afraid of what happened the first time happening again, and then just like the shock that I was pregnant again, just like all threw me off. I'm kind of in the same predicament I was in last time. We just like, I pretty much was saying like, I understand what you see because I see it too, but deep down in my heart, I know we can get it together. I know you can find a job. I know I can find a job. I know if we keep working, like we can use that money smartly. We can find a place because the place we were currently living at just wasn't gonna work if we had a kid. Like it worked for me and him barely, because like we were running out of room, really. And it just wasn't gonna work. And so a lot of stuff needed to shift and a lot of stuff needed to change to have this kid, but I know we can do it. And I think he just like walked out on faith. It just worked. We were in a position where we were just like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And God was like, you don't need to know. I got you. Like, it don't have to all be clear to you at this moment. I got you. And seriously, he had me. Because so many things could have went differently. So many people who support me could have chose to not support me. The people who chose not to support me could have easily sat in my face and like lied to me and pretended like they supported me, you know, and just gave off that negative energy. He could have chose to leave at the end of the day. He could have chose to been like, I don't want this, I never wanted this, and left. And he didn't. And like, I am so grateful for me not knowing what was gonna happen, but me having faith that it was gonna work itself out, because it is working itself out. That's all I really gotta say. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button. I don't know, do something. Leave me a comment.